would see if a game can be played only with comes out of the box.
With no FAQs, no internet clarifications and any sort.
Yes. And this time we are judging Lords of Waterdeep. Lords of Waterdeep was published by Wizards of the Coast in 2012 and it was designed by Rodney Thompson and Peter Lee. This is the third WotC game that we have at first play. The other two didn't pass. Let's see if this one passes the first play, Gauntlet. Well, let's start by briefly, very quickly explaining the basics of the game.
The game lasts for 8 rounds and you score victory points by completing quests. And to complete quests, you need adventures and gold.
Yeah, adventurers are divided into those colored cubes here. Those are the fighters, the wizards, the clerics, and the rogues. I find it easier to remember that the rogues are always in shadow. They're the black ones.
The black
priests,
ones?
Yeah, the priests are the holy ones, so white. Wizards are always using purple robes, so the purple ones. And the pumpkin-colored ones are the ones that left, which is the fighters. You can get, I think you still can get from
the blood.
Orange
blood.
Okay,
yeah.
or like orc blood.
Yeah.
And you can get, I think you can get D&D pose. Don't quote me on that, I'm not sure. I didn't check this beforehand, but you can play the games with the cubes. If you care for it, we will remember fighters and rogues and thieves.
Yeah.
Or not, you're gonna see that you need a couple of oranges, a purple, and a white one to complete a quest.
In the quest card, you were gonna see the cubes.
Yeah.
And the colored cubes.
Like this one, for example, this commerce quest here. You need a cleric, 3 rogues, and a wizard, and this bunch of gold here. I think it's 8 gold. You complete
Tough
it.
quest.
But you get 25 points here in the track. This other one here, as a reward, 9 points here in the track, and 2 clerics.
There are some quests that are special. There are plot quests that grants you some bonus throughout the game, like this one. If you complete it, whenever you take an action that provides any wizard, then you take an intrigue card.
That's when things get interesting in the board. Throughout the board, you have some basic areas that you go. It will assign your agents to them. So you get either 2 fighters or 2 rogues or a cleric, or you get the first player token and an intrigue card, or you get a quest and 2 gold, or a quest and an intrigue card, or you buy a building. As you can see here, the board has already 2 buildings. Let me put this one here because there's like the light is right here. So you have, eventually you're gonna get extra buildings that are activated throughout the game. And if you come to Waterdeep Harbor, it's the only place where you usually get to use one of the intrigue cards that give you like powers or abilities, or they generally mess with the rules of the game, or give you some advantage, or give other people disadvantages.
Yes.
The round ends when we have assigned all of our agents, and then we take those 3 extra points here, put on the buildings that weren't bought, and the third round begins. And there it goes until the very last round. One very important thing, Luciana said that you need quest cards too. Most of the time, or the most amount of victory points you get are through quest cards. You can only complete 1 quest per round. So in here I have 4 agents. At one point, right after assigning an agent, I complete 1 quest. Then I cannot complete it again for the remainder of the round, which limits you and gives you a little bit of strategy. You need to think about it, about how long it's going to take to do this big quest here, as opposed to Luciana having a couple of, because you can see the quest that she has, and you can see the quest that all the opponents have open, not completed. You need to think beforehand if you want to complete several small quests, or wait 2, 3, 4 rounds until you have all the resources that you require to complete a very big quest.
And as you can see the quests of the other players, you can decide to interfere with the quests of the other players. So, for instance, if a player needs a cleric.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
there's
the
no
names.
other place in this.
Yeah.
In our situation here, there's another place where you can get a cleric. But
Yeah.
let's say this building isn't in the game. Let's say
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe this building is in the game. That you get rogues and not clerics.
So there's just one location that you can get cleric. So if Marcelo wants to complete a quest that he desperately needs clerics, I can put my pawn here, my agent here, and take the cleric, and he cannot do that.
So I can try and block her. Then again, I will be doing that potentially by sacrificing the things I want. So
Yeah.
there's this kind of balance.
In the game, you play a character. There is the Lord of Waterdeep, and you randomly select one to be your character, and it has a winning condition. A winning condition, not
No,
yes,
it's not
an
a winning
advantage.
condition.
An
They
advantage
have-
that you have
yeah.
because if you complete some kind of quest, like this is an Arcana quest or a warfare quest, I have 4 victory points at the end for each one of them that I have completed.
Yeah, but you only get to reveal that at the end of the game because the lords are secret, just like in the lore of the game.
Okay, let's go to our impressions of the game.
Let me start by saying that this game surprised me because we bought it using the Kickstarter money, believing that it was going to be a Euro style game, and it kind of is, but it's a light Euro game. It's a worker. It's very clear that it's a worker placement game, but it's very, very light. I think it's a gateway game. Like if you are used to playing games with your friends, and either you or your friends are not into Euro style games, whether because you never tried it or because you believe they're complicated. This serves as an introduction to the kind of game that you have in an Euro style. That said, it's very American in the sense that the theme is undissociable from the rules. Like when you get some quests that you're gonna have to banish some undead monster, because the game has a lot of, and this is very good. The game has a lot of fluff text everywhere, even in the rules book. All the basic buildings and the expanding buildings, you have appendixes.
3 cards.
Yeah, the intrigue cards have fluff. All the appendixes, they describe the factions that, in essence, are just the color of your pieces. But there's description. There are descriptions of the agents and the factions, and every building has a small description and also an expanding of the rules in case you need it, because some buildings are kind of advanced. And so it gives you a sense that you are playing in a fantasy world. You don't need to be familiar with Forgotten Realms or even Waterdeep.
Yeah.
You don't need to have any idea that this is based on a setting of an RPG and hundreds of novels. If you do, it's even more enjoyable, but you don't need to. The game is makes you, if you want to, you can just play with, I need two white cubes. But if you stop and pay attention to what's happening, the kinds of quests you're going, the kinds of things that are happening, the factions, the buildings, it gives that added scenario that some European style games or German style games, some games might feel that the theme was slapped on after the rules were being made.
Not this one.
And it's a WotC game, so it's gorgeous and the pieces are very well done.
I agree with you. It's not a very complicated game. You can teach this game for a casual gamer or a not gamer.
Yeah. As Luciana said, it's not a gamer's game. You can play with your cousins and your parents and your kids.
It's not that complicated to know the rules and to understand the flow of the game, the rules and the rounds. It's easy to explain that.
And something else that I liked about the game, first time around, the rules can be a little daunting because, especially if you're not used to work placement games. So there is very little you do every round with each of your agents. So first time you play with your friends or your relatives, you're gonna see yourself and a lot of people doing this. I did this, and then
What else?
yeah, you expect there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff to do, but after you realize, you just set down your agent, take the thing, and then it's another person's turn. It's the kind of game, yeah. You don't even have time to, like, the people who wait around, like with 5 or 6 people with the expansion. People are going to start checking their cell phones. It's not going to happen because every turn.
That's very cool.
Yeah, every turn is very quick. So maybe the first time you play around, it's going to take 2 hours to play the game. After the second match, we two take usually 40 minutes to play a game between the two of us, and it doesn't get longer with more people. I think the longest we did, it was with 4 people. I don't believe we played the game with 5 people.
No.
No.
I think just 4.
1 hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour and a half. Played with 4 people on the same night twice, and we even had time to play Carcassonne afterwards. So that's a very quick of a game. It's not the kind of game that you usually expect worker placement, German style games. You expect it to last for 2 hours and a half, and
just the only game you play in the night.
Yeah. The game can get a little repetitive if you play it a lot. If it like one of your few games, after a while you realize like the game starts getting a little predictable, especially with the same people. That's why the game has an expansion that is worth 2 expansions. But we're not going to talk about it right now. We're going to talk about in
another episode.
Yeah, in a future episode. It's going to be our first episode about an expansion. But for now, let's talk about
the rules book.
Yes, let's see if the game passes the first play gauntlet. The idea of this series is that we get a game that we never played before, and we play the hell out of this game without checking the internet to see if there are errata or FAQs, or if we have a problem with the game, if we have doubts. We will stop and scour through the rules book and talk to people and try to
understand it
without using online resources and using only what came inside the box. And I gotta say that, and of course, eventually we check the internet to see if we were right in the rules, like the way we interpreted them.
But we play, I think, 3 times without looking. Because we had a lot of discussions.
We played 3 nights. 3 nights. So 6, 7, maybe 7 games. There was a debate about one rule once.
Yeah.
And it's
we find the answer here.
Actually, there is a mistake in the rules that, there is an official errata. Because there is one of the, I don't remember now, one of the buildings. If you look into the building, it's okay, but if you have any doubts, you check on the expanded version of the rules of the buildings, because not everything fits here. It kind of gets confusing. Mm-hmm. But we didn't. I saw that on the internet, but we didn't need that because we understood the building without looking into the appendix. And I gotta say that the rules are it's a very thin rule book, and half of it.
But there's a lot of rules there.
You think so? Because half of the booklet is appendixes. Like here,
but you need
less than half. Huh?
But you need those appendixes to understand, like this thing and the Waterdeep Harbor.
Maybe the first play.
Yeah,
maybe the first time you play around.
Yeah, the first time you play.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I found it very easy to find where the rules are, although some of the rules are spread out, as the Fantasy Flight usually do. But you
really have to read all the rule book to start playing.
Yeah, but 11, 12 pages, it's easy to find what you need.
Yeah.
And something I liked a lot about this rule book, because we usually, as it sits in the table, we have to leave it folded like this, and the pages are sewn together.
Yeah.
That makes for a very tough and wear resistant. I feel we had a couple of problems the very first time we played, and that's the reason why we play with many people. We try to play with all of our friends, because everybody brings a different, a different look into some rules, and makes us question if we were interpreting the rules correctly.
I think it's...
It happened a couple of times, but nothing
because
that...
we do that. All the games we do that. We look at the game and we try to figure it out.
How to break the game?
Yes.
All right. And people who play with us, they know we're playing. Our friends are asking, after almost 2 years doing this, they will ask, is this for first play?
Yeah.
Because they know we are going to stop and check at the rules, and we will debate the rules with them. So that's very positive. We created a posse that helps us with it. Luciana, I think it does.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it does.
So yeah, there's this one thing, this one chink in the armor that there is one rule here that's written.
But if you understand and if you read this and understand how the building works, it's not a problem for the game.
Yeah, it's only one errata, one correction. So
you
not
can
enough.
play with everything that comes.
Yes, it won't ruin
box.
the game.
Yeah. You don't need anything else.
And WotC finally has a first play in which they pass.
Wow.
For all that it's worth. And this has been another installment of First Play. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we did playing and recording it. For more of our videos, we have one every month. Just go to firstplay.tv or check our playlist here at Gamerati.tv on YouTube.
And if you like what you saw, just give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe to see more games and more videos.
I'm Marcelo.
I'm Luciana.
And we are
the Gamerati.